Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Raymond Yeung. Here are tonight's top stories. A court denies bail to a subcontractor charged with manslaughter in the underground deaths of 2 workers. In Pakistan, a suicide explosion kills more than 50 people and injures dozens. And Hong Kong are one step away from defending their women's team title in the Asian Games squash. A subcontractor has been denied bail after being charged with manslaughter over the deaths of 2 workers who were carrying out repairs underground last weekend. Police are also arrested a second person who will appear in court for manslaughter tomorrow. Janice Low reports.
Shum Yok-kun was driven in a police van to Kowloon City Magistracy this morning. The director of subcontractor Shum Development was accused of the unlawful killing of 2 workers at an underground construction site in the West Kowloon Cultural District last weekend. Police arrested 62-year-old Shum 2 days ago for an occupational safety and health-related offense, but charged him with manslaughter yesterday. The 2 workers, Lau Ho Chang and Kwok Fo Ki, did not clock out after entering a confined space last Saturday to repair pipelines for a seawater cooling system at the Elements shopping mall. Their families raised the alarm when they did not return home. Both men were found unconscious at the site on Sunday. They had apparently inhaled toxic gas and were pronounced dead in Queen Elizabeth Hospital. Magistrate Don So adjourned proceedings to late December for further police investigations. The defendant was denied bail. Last night, the 40-year-old manager of contractor Raft E&M Engineering was arrested for misleading police in the investigation. Police have filed a holding charge of manslaughter against him, and he will appear in Tuen Mun Magistracy tomorrow. Janice Low, HKIBC.
4 more people, including 2 in Macau, have been arrested in connection with the jpax cryptocurrency scandal. This takes the number of arrests in the city's biggest alleged fraud case to 18. Nearly 2,500 victims reported a total loss of over $1.5 billion. Over the past 3 days, police searched 6 premises and seized or froze $24 million in assets. They also found destroyed documents. Police have identified the key members of the crypto platform, but some have fled the city. The force has deployed all units of its crime wing to tackle the case.
For this case, it involved thousands of e-wallets and tens of thousands of transactions. So, and also because of the anonymity of the cryptocurrency in the cyber world, it makes it quite difficult to identify the criminal behind. But that's why we had been keeping a liaison with the overseas virtual assets trading platforms. So we will make every effort to hunt down the syndicate and also trace the cryptocurrency and the crime process.
Hong Kong's domestic helpers will be getting a small pay rise. Their minimum monthly wage will increase by $140 to $4,870, representing a 3% adjustment. Employers who don't provide free meals to their helpers will have to pay an extra $40 in food allowance per month. The adjustments will take effect tomorrow, although contracts signed today or before will still be bound by the old wages. The government said the increments were set after gauging economic and labor market conditions. At least 52 people have been killed and dozens injured in a suicide bombing in Pakistan. Hospitals were busy dealing with the casualties following an explosion near a mosque in the southwestern Balochistan province. The blast occurred as people in the Mastong district gathered for a religious procession to mark the birthday of Prophet Muhammad. The attack caused panic and chaos, with the government describing it as the work of terrorists. Hours later, another blast was reported near Peshawar, near the border with Afghanistan. No group has claimed responsibility for the attacks. Armenians in Lebanon have clashed with riot police during a protest against the seizure of Nagorno-Karabakh by Azerbaijan.
Nagorno-Karabakh is historical Armenian land since many thousand years and years. It was even the house of the Armenian kings at the time of the kingdom. Unfortunately, today we lose that. Today, Azerbaijan have taken back all the Karabakh.
The demonstration outside Azerbaijan's embassy in Beirut was violent. Officers fired tear gas and clashed with protesters after they hurled firecrackers at the building. Meanwhile, almost 90,000 ethnic Armenians from Nagorno-Karabakh have crossed into Armenia. Azerbaijan, which surrounds Karabakh, seized the enclave last week, ending the dreams of the Armenian majority for an independent state. Following the arrest of former separatist leader Ruben Vardanyan, his successors announced that the self-declared Karabakh Republic will cease to exist by the end of the year. A university student in the Netherlands has been arrested after 3 people were shot dead in Rotterdam. Staff fled when shots were fired at the Erasmus Medical Center. A male lecturer was killed. Medics led elderly patients to safety before police arrived and arrested a suspect. The shooting at the hospital occurred shortly after a woman and her 14-year-old daughter were fatally shot in their home. Police said the suspect was convicted of cruelty to animals 2 years ago. Retail sales in Hong Kong have continued to recover, although the pace in August was the slowest in 7 months. Retailers racked up $32.4 billion of sales last month, up 13.7% from a year ago. That's compared to the 16.7% increase in July. The performance in August was the worst since January, when the city started to welcome visitors after 3 years of COVID. The return of tourists especially boosted sales of jewelry, cosmetics, and clothing. But purchases from supermarkets declined, along with essential goods such as groceries and fuel. A government spokesman said the retail sector will continue to improve in the near term. The Hong Kong stock market rebounded today from a 10-month low on bargain hunting. Although the Hang Seng Index gained 2.5%, investors were nervous over the China Evergrande crisis. The developer suspended trading in its shares yesterday after its founder faced mandatory measures on suspicion of unspecified crimes. Techs advanced today, with NetEase jumping 5.5% and Meituan gaining 3.4%. JD.com, Tencent, and Alibaba all finished around 3% higher. Now let's take a look at the markets. The Hang Seng Index picked up 436 points. To the top 10 active stocks, Tencent was up $8.80. Alibaba was up $2.60, while the Tracker Fund was up 44 cents. HSBC was up by $1.10, while Hong Kong Exchanges was up $9. The forex trading against the Hong Kong dollar, the euro's at 8.29. 1,000 Japanese yen will get you 52 Hong Kong dollars, while the Australian dollar is at 5.07. And finally, in Europe, the London FTSE is currently up 52 points. China's domestic tourism industry is set for a rebound as an 8-day holiday begins today, with many people opting to travel in small groups.
First of all, I think over the last few years with the pandemic, there's really, really strong pent-up demand. That's one. Second thing is, I think the pandemic has also increased the willingness of friends and family to travel in smaller groups because they treasure the time that they have with their family.
The holiday spans the Mid-Autumn Festival and National Day. Hotels say bookings are 500% up from 2019 before COVID. There's also been a massive demand for air and land transport services, as millions of people take advantage of the long break. Many more will spend the holiday outside the mainland, with 1 million expected to visit Hong Kong. It has been the hottest Mid-Autumn Festival on the record, but that has not deterred people from celebrating the occasion. There was greater cheer this year because all COVID measures were lifted. The giant rabbit at the Lantern Carnival at Victoria Park attracted hundreds of people who took photos. Many revelers brought along their lanterns. Some children celebrated the festival by dressing up as the Chinese moon goddess Chang'e. Finally, the weather. The scorching heat is here to stay after the observatory recorded the hottest ever mid-autumn day. Temperatures this weekend will range between 28 and 34 degrees. And that's our main news for Friday night. Join us for more news at 11. Thanks for watching. Good night.